Hi! Christmas is approaching. That warm and fuzzy time when we basically do two things. Eat Christmas food and layer ourselves with clothes to hide our not-so-bikini winter bodies. And we could talk about what a jolly and magical time December is, but where's the fun in that? How about part 2 of a triple murder case that happened on Christmas Eve, over 40 years ago? Now that's what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen part 1, head to my other video, cause from this point I'll talk about all the crap that happened after the first part of crap. I'll give you a minute to decide. Previously on True Crime Animated, Pact of Silence. So, a young pregnant girl, her husband, and a little boy are found dead by an abandoned coach on a snowy road. The supposed car accident case turns into a full-on homicide spree like from CSI, NCIS, Blacklist, Mentalist, Mindhunter, The Alienist, and all those shows with a catchy title about crime solving that you realize are overly dramatic Days of Our Lives soap operas rather than an actual crime investigation shows. Somebody please get rid of this woman already. God, she's more useless in the field than a frigging Magikarp on a desert. Or any battlefield for that matter. Anyway. Most of the time, the police do their job, but in this case, the investigation was some kind of a joke. They hardly collected any evidence, marked the scene as an accident pretty much immediately, and went on their merry way. The witnesses weren't much of a help either. Every single person in that village was talking about one thing, and one thing only: the murder of Kalita's children. But no one dared to tell the truth about what happened that night, no matter how much their families were suffering. The main perpetrator, Soida, was pulling all strings to prevent the investigation from moving forward, and bribing was just the right way. So, officer, is there a way we could sort this out? We both know this town doesn't need a murder case right now. Mr. Soida, I don't think you know how the police works. We can't just choose what the case is. How about this? You keep investigating this case as an accident, and you get a fancy Christmas present for your wife and kids, like, I don't know, a shiny new Fiat 126p? Wouldn't that be nice? You could keep the rest of the money. Okay, for the record, this is the car we're talking about here. Not exactly a limo, more like an ugly sibling of a Magikarp. I'm sorry, Magikarp, you're majestic and beautiful and I love you. The bribes, threat, and Soida's influence must have worked, because neither the crime scene nor the bodies were investigated properly. The police ignored all possible clues found at the scene, like an empty bottle of vodka, and the autopsy of the bodies was conducted by a doctor who did not have a license to do it in the first place. He was claiming he used a simplified method of the autopsy. What? On top of that, the victims were buried before the New Year, so not even a week after the murder. No additional post-mortem examination, no double-checking their injuries, they simply buried the evidence in the ground. Also, remember that bus? The key clue in this case? Yeah, so even though it was intact and there surely was a lot of evidence to collect from the inside and outside of it, it was wrecked merely days after the crime. And that must have been a hell of a moment when somebody actually realized. Hey guys, that bus being destroyed out there, there's no way it's the one from the crime scene. Shit! It wasn't just the careless handling of the evidence. The trial was no less difficult, as dozens of witnesses constantly changed their statements, denied there was any crime, avoided answering questions, or straight up lied. I can only imagine how much patience the judge had.
Mr. Kowalski, for the last time, did you or did you not witness the murder on the night of December 24th, 1976? Done by Mr. Sojda and his accomplices currently present in this room. Yes. Maybe? Could you just repeat the question, Your Honor? Mr. Kowalski, you were testifying under the oath. Was there a triple murder that night? There was a lot of vodka, I can tell you that much, but murder, I don't think I understand. Could you maybe define it for me, please? Why, you little...
Please, Judge! How is this helping anybody? Please, Judge, please. Judge, please!
Let's put it into numbers. During this trial, out of 232 witnesses, one was questioned 14 times, 38 people denied or changed their original statements, 18 of them were put in jail for false testimony, and 88 witnesses were fined. It's actually a record number of such cases during one trial in Poland. in a serious anger management training for the judge, because I as hell would most likely kill at least half of them in the first 5 minutes of the circus. There appeared an unlikely witness that nobody knew about until he showed up at the doorstep of no other than Soida's house. It was a 14-year-old boy, Stash, a friend of the murdered Miecho. He screamed in front of Soida's house. He knew. He knew because he was there that night, walking back to Zrembin. For the first time, Soida's confidence was shaken. He was afraid, terrified that this crime will be revealed by the boy. Soida went out of his way to convince the boy to keep quiet. He knew the boy's family was the poorest in the village, so he thought it will be easy to bribe him. He invited him over to his house frequently, gave him presents, food, shared some American cigarettes and wine. Okay, hold up. Isn't this kid like 12? I stand corrected. He's 14. That ain't legal age for cigarettes and alcohol. But I guess whatever it takes to convince someone not to snitch on you and your murder spree. He told the boy to kneel in front of a portrait of Holy Mary, swear that he will do as told, and then gave him the saved version of the testimony. He also offered a generous amount of money and a cow to the boy's family, but they said no, even though they were the poorest in the whole community. And mysteriously, there started a series of bullying towards the boy's family, throwing rocks at their windows in the middle of the night and burning of their stable. It got so bad that the boy's father had to literally guard the house all night with an axe. And they weren't the only terrorized family in the village. Many of the witnesses have experienced multiple accounts of blackmail, threats of death if they say anything, as well as bribes. Despite everything, Stash testified and told the whole truth, which resulted in the arrest of Yusuf Adash, Soida's brother-in-law, on account of causing a traffic accident that resulted in manslaughter. Eventually, one of the people from the bus broke the silence, Leszek B. He couldn't take it anymore and told everything that happened that night. Thanks to that, the remaining 3 culprits were arrested in the spring of 1977. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So thanks to this guy, the case can actually be solved. He was found dead in the nearby river a few weeks later, allegedly drowned. What? That was it. The key witness was gone with no one to blame, just like that. Despite the crappy work of the police, they finally did a few things right at this wake-up call. They exhumed the victims' bodies and hired an actual certified doctor to do the post-mortem. Yay to all pathologists with a proper license. That for one proved that the cause of death was not an accident. And great, cause goddammit, this High School Musical drama was way too long. In the end, it's not about shaking hands and being all kumbaya again. It's about solving a flippin' murder. In 1979, with the last trial, the 4 culprits were found guilty of committing a triple murder, and they were sentenced to death by hanging. In 1981, the sentence was appealed, and in the end, the death penalty was upheld for Jan Soida and Józef Adaś, but the other 2 men were put in prison for 25 years, since a life sentence did not exist in the Polish law until much later. None of the culprits admitted to committing this horrible crime, even on the death row. Their side of the story might be much different. I know maybe some things were left out during the investigation, but I want to believe that justice was served. First of all, I would like to thank Maz, who you might also know as The Amazing. He voiced some of the characters in my video. You can guess which ones. And let me tell you, listening to his recording with bloopers just made my day. Also, I am so sorry I forgot to include how to pronounce Polish names. I am absolutely terrible for making you say them without any help from me, a frigging Polish native speaker. But you did an awesome job. Seriously, go and check out his channel. It's now full-on Christmas mode, so if you wanna do something nice and you also like my content, subscribe and follow my social media for more stuff. That would be the biggest present to me. Don't forget to wish everyone a happy Christmas, spread some love in the comments. And I'll be heading to Poland for the holidays, so you can expect a new video after I'm back, probably in the new year. In the meantime, I'll put some artwork on my Instagram and Twitter, so stop by and leave a like. As for my first animation in 2020, if you want me to cover a specific case, leave your ideas under this video. So, my crime nerds, keep tabs on my channel, stay safe during the holiday season, and Merry Christmas. Until the next time.